Hello, and welcome back to my Awakening Intuition video series, where we pull oracle cards twice a month to give us some invitations to work with our intuition and psychic ability, but also some invitations to help inform our self-love, self-care, and mindfulness practices. So thank you for coming back here to this channel. You can subscribe or like the video. That always helps us a lot. We really appreciate you being here. And today we're going to be pulling cards for the second half of October. We'll pull 3 cards from Awakening Intuition, 1 card from my new deck, Grief, Grace, and Healing at the very end. I always like to just quickly recap the cards that I pulled for the first half of October. The 2 that really ended up sticking out for me over the next 2 weeks that followed were the card from Awakening Intuition, choose the healing option. So that choosing the healing option, especially that gentle, soft, compassionate, merciful energy really resonated with me the last 2 weeks. And also we chose as our exclamation point card from Grief, Grace, and Healing, the choose joy and pleasure, prioritize joy and pleasure card was pulled. That really helped me the past 2 weeks. Especially I remember when I pulled that card, I felt clairaudiently really called to say that this is about simple pleasures for some reason in the first 2 weeks of October. And I think it's sometimes I realized during the first 2 weeks of October, we can go through seasons in our life where we're more restricted, whether it's with our finances or our health or situations that are going on in the world where our ability to play with joy and pleasure is a little different, a little bit more restricted. And that's why I think the simple pleasures came to me so strongly. And those resonated for me so much during the first 2 weeks of October. That was actually really healing for me to realize that some of those simple pleasures, just having a smile from someone, enjoying my cup of tea in the morning, feeling grateful to be alive, grateful to have my basic needs taken care of, and just kind of slowing down and paring down, having less in my life, but realizing that having less at times can help you savor what's there and really be present for what's there. So I just wanted to share with you how those cards landed for me during the first 2 weeks of October. And now we will pull cards from Awakening Intuition. I'm going to set this box right behind my self-love calendar. I know some of you know for 2024, I wanted to put that out for people to see. And we'll just get these cards going for Awakening Intuition. Take them out of their lovely, lovely velvet plush pouch that everyone, including me, loves. We'll get these cards out. And I'm just going to hold them between my palm chakras and just set the intention that we will get some messages here for the second half of October that might really, 1 or 2 of these cards might really resonate for you, for the people who are watching this video. Okay, so here we go. And we're looking for some cards. Whoop, that card really feels like, Tanya, I want to be picked. Okay, we've pulled that card before. Lovely. And we'll do 1 more card, second half of October. Again, I'm really looking for a card that just kind of jumps out and lets me know in a very obvious way that it wants to be picked. And sometimes it'll take you a minute to get that card to come up, but I always feel like it's kind of worth the wait if you do. Okay. Just peeked up just a little bit. I love that card though. I'm glad we waited for it. All right, and we'll do 1 more. And remember, you really cannot pick a wrong card because you're going to use your own intuition as I'm talking about the card, as you're reading it on the screen to discern. Whew, this one really popped up, didn't it? So when I talk about the card or you read it on the screen, you're going to be using your own intuition to discern, is this card really useful for me right now? Is this resonating with me? And in what way is it resonating? What do I think this is speaking to in my life? Because we're all so different. Ooh, and that card, you saw it, that card really wanted to be picked. So we'll put these back and we'll talk about our first card. And it's kind of fun because I don't know what these cards are going to be either. So it's really fun for me to be pulling cards for this too, and get surprised by the cards as well. And in the moment, on the fly, hear what my own intuition is saying for us. This card is Unleash Your Imagination! Exclamation point. Then I'll read this card to you. You may be limiting your intuition by limiting your imagination. Expand your idea of what's possible now in your life and in the world while staying grounded, surrendered, and flexible. Unleash your imagination in general by indulging in a fun, creative hobby. Daydreams lead to real-life manifestations. Okie dokie. Really lovely card. I love the exclamation point at the end of that. The reason I put an exclamation point at the end of that card is because I wanted it to have a very buoyant, expansive energy when you pull that card. I think what I'm getting, though, as far as what might be going on with some people collectively who are watching this video, is that the expansion of the imagination might be saying, let me look at my circumstances and see some new possibilities, new options with my intuition, which is connected to my imagination, and really kind of riff around. Is there a certain way I can get my needs met that's a little bit different than how I normally do? Are there some options for how I can get what I want and I desire in my life that maybe I hadn't thought of, but someone says something to me, I read something in an article, my own intuition, I get a brilliant idea, clairvoyant image, I have a dream that kind of shows me there's a different route or avenue maybe than what I have done traditionally, or what I had thought might be open and possible to me in my life to get a dream or a goal accomplished, or just get my needs met. So think outside of the box, and that's something, no pun intended with the box, that's something that your intuition really helps you to do, is to open up and expand the vista about what is possible for me right now, and what are some options and avenues for me to get there. So let's pay attention to that for the second half of October. And sometimes your imagination will bring something in and we can immediately dismiss it and say, oh no, that wouldn't work. But sometimes it really is your intuition that brought that popped that into your mind. So just stay really open about how you might get things accomplished in the second half of October. And then the next card is Open Up to Feel. Mindfully tuning into energy and emotions around you now is nourishing. Whether it's the calming energy of nature, the inspiring energy of someone you admire, or the connection in intimately sharing someone else's emotional experience, it's safe, healthy, and healing to absorb in a balanced way. Bond with others and the world. All right, what a really pretty card, and immediately I think it speaks to especially people who have that empathic, I call it hypersensitive energy and emotional and psychic system, where sometimes we just call it sensitive, where you really are able to pick up on a lot in your environment. Other people's energy and emotions, the collective energy of the world, even physical stimuli can sometimes register a little more strongly and pronounced for these people, which is why I wrote 2 books about empaths, Self-Care for Empaths, and then Empath Heart, which helps empaths in relationships and helps them navigate that. I really feel strongly what's coming up right now for me when I look at this card is simply world energy, which is a lot. And if you are somebody that is really severely negatively affected right now by things that are happening in the world, I'm so sorry about that. If you know someone you love who is really severely affected, I'm very sorry about that. And all of our hearts go out to you. And this is kind of what this card is about that kind of mindful heartache where sometimes we do need to open up and feel with people in a way that is nourishing so that they don't feel like they're going through things alone in a vacuum. And sometimes, it really can be nourishing, whether it's a friend or family member, someone who's very close to you, a coworker, or someone on the other side of the world you've never met, to just open up for a moment and just put your hand over your heart and say, I see this, I feel this, I witness you with this. Now, this is always it has to be done in a balanced way because it's what you can handle in the moment. So we have to take our own mental and emotional health into the equation here big time. And it might even be that some of you just feel called to be even more of service, even more helpful in the second half of October. Even if that's just a neighbor that you see that is struggling, they need help with something, or something of that nature. It might be something very locally that you feel called to do. Also, another way that this card is lovely that I was actually playing with in the first half of October is when you realize in your own system that you need to connect with some healing, gentle, soft energy. And you just recognize that. I'm really stressed, I'm amped up, or I'm feeling really down, I'm having trouble connecting to gratitude. Is there a song? Is there a movie? Is there a book that has that heartwarming energy that you can link into and connect to, and as a sensitive person, open up to and vibe off of in a lovely way? Really, really prioritize doing that as well in the second half of October, and kind of cocoon with that really gentle, loving, soft, heartwarming energy, and find places, people, things, books, movies, whatever it is that helps you anchor into that. Okay, really glad we pulled that card. And then you saw how dramatically this card wanted to come out, really popped up to get our attention. Get curious about your psychic DNA. Your intuition is uniquely yours, yet partially inherited or influenced by your cultural background. A portion of your intuitive makeup may run through your distant bloodlines. Ancestral mystical gifts are working through you now. These psychic roots reach far beyond people who birthed or raised you and are more connected to your soul DNA. There's so many things we could say about this card, which is why there's a really lovely big guidebook that comes with this deck that goes into so much more information and action steps. But just quickly for this video, I think this is a lot of people collectively, and maybe who are watching this video, remembering their soul roots, remembering their psychic DNA on a deeper level, and almost wanting to reach out to some more ancient, spiritual, mystical, healing modalities or tools like divination cards, or you feel called to take a class with someone, or you just feel called to have a deep, soulful talk with a friend. And maybe you don't even normally talk this way with this friend, but you kind of feel each other out, and it's like, oh yeah, we both just want to talk about something spiritual, and maybe just a light way that's very healing, but look at something through a spiritual lens. But so it could be some talks that just kind of organically happen with people in your life, but I really do feel strongly when I tune into this card for this video that it is a lot of people wanting to kind of anchor in and dig into those deeper old psychic roots that their soul knows and remembers, that resonates with them, that could be from any culture. As the card says, it doesn't have to be a culture that you grew up in or you were exposed to while you were being raised. So if you feel called to go to those deeper, older systems, or to just expand your knowledge about spiritual practices and spiritual traditions, and you feel called to go to a place or get into a certain spiritual tradition or certain branch of mysticism, it might be in the second half of October. It's a good time to, in a nourishing way, I'm hearing, just let yourself do that. Good. I love these cards. Now we are going to go to our exclamation point card for this lovely, lovely deck, Grief, Grace, and Healing. This deck was designed to help anyone who is navigating any kind of loss in their life. So it could be the loss of a relationship. It could be the loss of a certain relationship you used to have with your body that's changing, a certain role you had in the world that's changing, or it could be a loved one who passed away. So just like last time, what I'd like to do is show you just a slightly different shuffling method where, again, we're not really shuffling. We're kind of just holding the cards between our palm chakras, and we are asking for a message that will be a lovely little exclamation point card that will help inform these three cards that we already picked for the second half of October. And I'm just going to let the cards fall where they want to. Oh, really nice. And I think this might be a card that we've pulled from this deck before, but it's very appropriate with these 3 cards, I think. Be of service to others. It can be a kindness to yourself to get a break from your issues by focusing on someone else. Whether it's being of service to others in your career, with family and friends, or in your community, it's nourishing to be a force of grace in the world. Appreciation from others is revitalizing now. You know, the sentence that sticks out to me so much as I read this card is, it's nourishing to be a force of grace in the world for others. That means, you know, grace is that wonderful force of benevolence, love, mercy, compassion that can come into our life completely in an unexpected way and just soften things for us, bring a little mini miracle to us, give us just the help or resources or people that we need right in the moment. It could be that it just feels good to kind of dig into the ways that you are typically of service with people in your community, family, at work. Or there might be some new ways of being of service that come on your radar in the second half of October. But sometimes it can be great to just say, let me get out of my own head. Let me, if I have the emotional and physical stamina, get out there and do something for someone else. And sometimes it doesn't take much emotional and physical stamina. It might just be somebody who needs someone to listen to them, and they just need to be witnessed. But when you do that, it can feel so nourishing and good for you to know you showed up and helped someone else in a small way, which is really a big way. So look for opportunities to be a force of grace in the world for others in the second half of October, and look for that feeling of, oh gosh, this feels so nourishing to me. And maybe it was just great to not have to think about my own worries for a second. So, and the one other thing I wanted to tell you before we sign off for the second half of October is I am getting ready to start talking more about my annual calendar, A Year of Self-Love. I think this will be our 4th year, I think this is our 4th year of doing the calendar, and there are people who have bought it every year, and thank you. When you email me and tell me that, it means so much to me. I love writing this calendar. I use it myself every day. You pull a card each day and you get a lovely little self-love message, an action step, and it's just a really cute, sweet thing to have on your desktop there. So I feel like we got so many great messages from this. I'm just going to show you the calendar and briefly mention it, and we'll talk about it more maybe in the next video. And for now, I just want to wish you all just a really, really lovely second half of October, where not only you get to be of service to other people, but some people show up to support you because you deserve that. And thank you for supporting me just by being here. Just having your presence and your energy really helps make these videos special, and I value you and I thank you for watching. See you next time.